Hey guys, so today I've got another gear review. This one's going to be a little bit of a downer. I don't like to put too much negative stuff out there, but I'm going to talk about the digital Sputnik Voyager tube light. I've already talked about my Quasar Science tube lights. I guess they're technically competitors with Digital Sputnik. Digital Sputnik's done some other LED arrays and things that are very popular in professional film productions. The Voyager is its main trick is that it's a programmable LED tube light. So it's if you're just looking for, bicolor lights, solid light, that's not really what it's meant for. It has a companion app. You can program multiple ones together. You can even line them up and have like a very pixelated video play across them all when they're all programmed together. There's a lot of cool potential with it. The main problem I have with it is it's something I backed originally with the Indiegogo campaign, which like a lot of these things doesn't go as planned. So I think I put up the money for a 4-foot one, which was about $500, like 2 years before I ended up getting it, which was like a year later than it was supposed to be delivered. And then I finally got it, and I don't think I've even used it on a professional project yet. I've done some tests with it to see what it can do. The main problem, or there's two main problems. One is it's not a very powerful light, so unless you're shooting complete darkness and giving some color to something, that's kind of the only use for it, or it's got to be really close to your subject. They have a 2-foot and a 4-foot. I have the 4-foot, so it should be more power. It's just not a very bright light. These Quasar tubes that are battery powered are much brighter, so you can get some really cool effects if it's like a still close-up of somebody and you're having some police lights or something shine on their face. It works great for that. I kind of think that might be the main thing I end up using it for, actually. It's just for like some special effects moments in projects rather than being a go-to light that I use all the time. And the reason for that is it's really a pain in the butt right now to set up. It is a work in progress. It's been a work in progress since they started the campaign. The app's changed a couple of times. I think when I first got it, the earlier app seemed to be a little more intuitive and easier to use than the newest app. They kind of redesigned the whole thing, and now I'm a little lost on it. But there is a lot of pain of it. You gotta like sync it to your phone. You can, that takes some setup, and then like trying to program the different things you want it to do. It just really takes, it's one of those things like, if you've watched any of my other videos, I sort of had digs against, one of the reasons I didn't like a lot of DJI stuff and gimbals and stuff is that the phone component early on was annoying. So anytime you have to sync up your phone to program a robot of some sort to do something special, that kind of equipment is so slow and requires basically you to be on a professional set with like trained crew people whose one job it is to manage that, because there's so many little intricacies of how that works and the different, it's just a pain in the butt if you're a owner operator or a running gun person that just wants a kind of a quick effect. What else we got? This basic white light, handy. Again, this is best case scenario right now. I've got it in a very kind of dark room. It's just the gradient, but the color's not really showing up too well on this gradient. Part of me feels like I'm doing something wrong here, but I don't know. It was a cooler gradient. Last time I played with it, the gradient seemed to work better. I don't know why it's got to have a white line in it. So you see how you can activate parts of it or not. I think they need to change out some of these effects. Here's police light again. Very cool, super cool. There we go, that's what I needed. Yeah. So just to go through the process again, what happens is you boot it up, it creates its own Wi-Fi network, you gotta connect your phone to it. In this case I had a firmware update that I went and did, and then you can stop in place. Let's see. It's still a little weird navigating the menus just because it doesn't quite. I'll just start a new project. I don't know where my lamp is. I have to add lamps again. See, it's like when you're in it and you finally get it where you want it, it works well, but then like now I'm trying to start a new project and my lamp's not showing up now. There we go, add lamps, okay. Here it is. Alright, so we're back to basics. Alright, I think I'm getting the hang of this. Now you can see there's a little color wheel. I can change it whatever color I want. Let's change this intensity here. Full intensity, yes. So this is cool. If you just need a certain color, you just move the color wheel on your phone and changes it. But like I said, I have other RGB LEDs where it's just two knobs on the back. It's a little more precise and doesn't require an extra device like your phone to connect to the Wi-Fi on, open the app, maintain the connection on. So in general, with basic stuff like that, I'd rather a more foolproof system with knobs. I guess I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. So maybe I was a little too judgmental at first, talking about something I hadn't used in a while. I seem to have done quite a bit of work on it. Well, that's interesting. How did that happen? How do I go back to... Okay, so the app, it still needs some work. I'm ultimately getting it to work. Where I've seen a lot of the supporters complain is in trying to get multiple ones set up and stable and sort of maintaining their connection over on a set where it's like a higher stakes, high pressure situation. Reliability really matters. But maybe all this thing really needed was a little bit of time to work out the kinks. Yeah, this is pretty freaking cool actually. The only thing is it's not very bright. Let's see if I can open it up. Yeah. So this is kind of best case scenario. I've got a black backdrop. This is at full power. I've got a little bit of ambient light through a window in my garage, but this is a pretty close-up shot on me, one person with a 4-foot light. It just doesn't have a lot of output. But in a certain controlled scenario, if you're in the dark on an alien planet or something and you got something going on, it's a pretty cool effect, and it gives you some neat color contrast. It makes you start thinking about light in a different way. So as you can see in the app, all that's happening is it's playing this color gradient video, and then the light itself is represented by this little bar, and you can kind of move it within the frame. So now I went up a little higher where that purplish part is, so I'm getting more of those colors on my face. It's pretty cool. Again, in practicality, is it that useful? This is very much special effects lighting. This is for very specific situations. There's not a lot of places where you need a moving light or a colored light. Day-to-day client work is really for narrative stuff, music videos. Go back to the police light. This is super helpful for a lot of movies have police lights at night. That's probably one of the things I'll use the most, honestly. I would honestly just love it if they just put a lot more presets in here, because I kind of like how quickly I can just go to different presets. So this is the fire. So if I was standing watching my house burn, this works pretty well. So yeah, I mean it's cool for certain scenarios. Let's see how dim it gets, and that's with me standing. This ideal shot right here, I'm literally like a foot away from the light, so that's why I'm getting the maximum impact. It's going to be a little trickier. If you're on a normal set, here I am about 4 or 5 feet away from the light. I know I'm out of focus, but you know, you get the idea. It's a lot fainter of an effect. So it works great in close-ups, or if you had a lot of them for a super specific scenario. And it's definitely a glimpse of the future of lighting. But you know, you also kind of get the thing of like, sometimes a lot of choices can be overwhelming. That's kind of how I feel about it a little bit. Is I like how it's the water effect again. Ooh. I don't love having too many choices because sometimes it slows you down in a pinch. But again, this is undeniably a cool shot, cool effect, a cool light, with a very specific use for it. And in general, I don't love having to whip out my phone to control something, but it makes sense in this case. I don't know how else you would control it, but you know, run and gun is just not as useful a thing to pull out all the time. If you're gonna have a lot of ambient light, let me just turn on the lights in here real quick. The overhead's on in my garage. Suddenly it's almost completely effectless. Is that a word? There's the fire again. Yeah. So not even a ton of light, it's just some of the overheads in here. I'll stop it down a little. We're going down to, it's at 5.6. Still getting a little, but I'm a foot, 2 feet away from the light. You can see how faint that effect is. So great in pitch black on a close-up. It can work underwater. Great if you're filming a mermaid sequence in a pool at night. Otherwise, not tremendously helpful, but lots of cool potential. It's just it definitely feels like an early proof of concept. Seems to be getting better with time. It's not perfect. Not a lot of uses for it yet. I could see on a large scale, but a lot of the people that have the early bird, you know, the Indiegogo versions, been complaining about synchronizing stuff. I only have one, so I haven't had to deal with those issues. I've just found that it's rare that I have to pull it out and really use it on a set. So anyway, cool glimpse of the future. Definitely feels like a first generation device.